Good afternoon. Let me see here. Looks to me like I've turned this on mute, and I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not. Hey, everybody. Hi there. Must be Cassie. This is Gail Anderson, and this is Mentoring Moments for Moms. So happy that some of you are on today. I'm hoping that I'm catching you during nap time, so you have time to get on live. I'm definitely looking for some comments today. Hello there, Holland family. Hope you're doing well. Just great to see everybody on. Man, in Tulsa, our cold front just hit within the last hour, I would say. It was hot and humid and the sun was out, and now all of a sudden it's cold. So here we are, fall. Welcome, welcome. Any of you that are on right now, were you on yesterday? Yes, busy. I'm sure you are. Any of you on yesterday when I was talking about teens? I made a comment at the end and just decided today to kind of follow up on that comment. Just talked a little bit about dealing with teens, and if you are not at that stage yet, then take notes. Oh, you were on. Good. Okay, yeah, 2 days in a row, Danielle. I did it. I don't know. I just kept thinking about how everybody was commenting on that last comment I made about separating between the child and his behavior. And I just wanted to go back and focus on that a little bit today. Did you think about that at all? Were you processing that at all as far as your situations, your kids? I think it is an essential point in parenting, and yet it's hard. So often we deal with people according to what they've done in the past, and even if they've paid the price, then we're still bringing it back up. I know I grew up like that a little bit. Yes, I shared that tidbit with a friend and we discussed it. And did they agree? Did they understand that division? I pretty much feel like sometimes I do that with my husband. Like he's in the doghouse because of a certain type of comment he'll make. And rather than know, hey, I love him no matter what he said, that was just a little bump that he did, I'll put him in the doghouse on that same. It is. We have a hard time going that with our teen. Oh, doing it with your teen. Seriously. The thing is, the essential point is that we love our children. We love their heart. And one of the things that I like to just pop off and say to my kids as they were growing up is, you can't do anything which is going to make me quit loving you. In essence, I'm going to love you no matter what you do. Now, there are things that you do that are going to bring consequences, but I am going to love you no matter what you do. But you also know with teenagers, there is tough love. So let's just talk in general about, I've got some little notes here. When they do something that's not great, you want to talk about the behavior as being separate. We all make mistakes. We all make choices which are not the best, and we want to be forgiven for those things. And so that's really what we're saying is forgive the child for what they did. Or even if they are not sorry for what they did, there's still a consequence that they have to take. But it's a consequence that's going toward the behavior or the comment or whatever, not the person at the heart, especially if their heart is good. So you love the child, but the consequences he gets are for the behavior. If that's something that's hard for you to understand, please, write in and let me know. Here's a situation. You have an 8-year-old. You've been working on helping him to put his bike away so it's not left out at night. You don't want it to get stolen. You don't want it to get backed over by the car. You don't want it to be left out in the rain. So you're working with your 8-year-old on this. So you set up this thing. Okay, now we need you to put your bike away, and maybe you tried to do this with some positive reinforcers, but now you get to a consequence. Okay, if you leave your bike out, then you will have to give it up for 3 days. You will no longer be able to ride your bike. Now, you love the child, so do you take away that consequence? Oh, I know you really didn't mean to do it, so I'm not going to take your bike away. I'm going to go ahead and let you ride it. Has he learned anything? No. The reason that you give those consequences are not because the child's bad, not because he did something that is so horrible, but it is a training method. You are helping him by doing that. If you do not take the bike away. If you give in then and don't allow him to experience the consequences of his behavior, then he is not going to learn. And he does need to learn, especially at that age. If you like what we're talking about, please tap on the screen, give me some hearts. And if you want to share this broadcast, you can do that by just swiping to the right. Have I heard of Scott Turansky? No. Tell me about him. Does he teach this type of thing? Very interesting. I think it's an essential thing to keep in mind with our children, because if they do something and we're angry with them and we in essence put them in the doghouse for a certain amount of time, that isn't doing them any good. We don't want them to feel rejected because they left their bike out, rejected because their room wasn't picked up and they said it was. No, you have to understand there's a difference, and we all make wrong choices. We all are forgetful at times, and giving consequences is part of the training. It is not because you don't like your child. In fact, giving the consequences, carrying those consequences out are a sign of love, and we call that tough love. He has a book called The Christian Parenting Handbook. It's amazing, one of the best I've read. I'm going to go back and look that up. That sounds interesting. I'm always loving readings. How do you deal with something that's habitual? Good heart, but just not paying attention. Absolutely. Well, I always like to be able to start out reinforcing the good choice in that situation, but especially as the children grow older, like we're saying with an 8-year-old and his bike, you haven't been able to reinforce it enough to be able to get him to do it, so now you give consequences. That's how you train the habit, by giving a consequence, a stick, something that's going to help them to remember next time. It's the next time that is so essential because they're going to make that choice again. How about if a teenager carries his lunch to school and he keeps forgetting his lunch? Well, if you are consistently, day after day, bringing his lunch to him, making a separate trip for that, you have basically taught him it's okay to forget his lunch. He doesn't have to be responsible because mom's going to pick it up for him. Mom's going to take care of it. If mom is erasing those consequences for a teenager, I say that's a sign that you are not showing love. The best thing to do, if you love them, you will allow them to learn. You will allow them to suffer the consequences, especially as they get to those teen years. But you have to balance when they're younger. Which consequences? Am I reading your mail? No, but I hope this is helping. I mean, I dealt with this all the time with my kids, and it doesn't mean I didn't put them in the doghouse. There's always that tendency. We grew up that way, thinking, oh, he's not done good today. He's been terrible, so I'm just not going to spend time with him, or I'm just going to be a little bit huffy when I help him. That doesn't do anything. You've got to show them, love them throughout. It's just the way you deal with adults when you have to have, say, a conference where you sit down and talk to them about something they've been doing, a realistic thing where all family members have to get in a group and actually confront somebody. It's because you love them. You want to help them to change, and this is how we do it. Let me see. You do it because it teaches. And it's also important to remember, on the flip side, if you are rewarding your kids for certain things, you need to make sure that you're rewarding them for the behaviors, that you're not always just saying, oh, Johnny, you're such a good boy. No, Johnny's a good boy no matter what. But actually, you need then to be able to say, that was a great thing, showing love to your sister. Oh, I liked it, how you picked up that extra trash and put it into the trash can. You separate between the child and the behavior. We love the child. We don't always approve of his behavior, and his behavior sometimes will have consequences, and he will need to suffer those consequences. And I hope I'm not stepping on any toes here, especially as I talk about older elementary, junior high, and teenagers. Yes, they need to start experiencing those consequences. No one is going to come up to them as an adult if they've been caught speeding 50 miles over the speed limit, and what policeman is actually going to listen and say, oh, you've had a hard day. You know, I'm not going to give you the consequence. It really doesn't matter if the policeman is a friend. It doesn't matter if you're a great person. You broke the law, and here's the consequence. And so you need to suffer that consequence, especially when we're looking at those extreme situations. So we do it because it teaches it. And we don't want to take away those consequences, because what will happen is they have no reason not to do the same thing again. Whereas if we allow them to suffer those consequences, that little pinch, that little stick will be the reminder when they're in that situation the next time. So my comment to my kids, you can't ever do anything to make me quit loving you. I had to remind myself of that too, especially as they got into the teens and made decisions that I didn't really agree with, didn't really want to back, but I think it's a very essential thing for people to consider in parenting their children. Any questions or comments? I really want to look into that. Scott Turansky, was it? And see what kind of stuff he teaches. But I really truly believe that this is a very essential thing. My husband and I will be on hopefully mid-morning tomorrow, and I think I'm going to give him a chance to share just a little bit about dealing with teens again. He's got a lot more things that he'd like to bring up, so we may as well just stay on that subject tomorrow and hit that. Next week, I know I have to bring him back on to talk more about the health thing and our vegan eating and preparing meals and making it simple. That should be fun. So make sure you share this broadcast with your friends if you feel like this is something they can benefit from. And again, all of my scopes for Mentoring Moments for Moms are on YouTube under that title. Also, anyone here read our blog for today? I did want to mention that. I wrote a blog about talking about little things. You made lasagna. Fantastic, Cassie. You're welcome. Anyone read the blog today? It was about talking about the little interruptions to your day, the things that throw you off, and how to handle them. And it was very interesting. We blog at KirbyAnderson.com. The link's in my profile. And you're more than welcome to get on there. You can actually sign up and have us automatically deliver those blogs to you. But if you are working on your parenting, if you are working on your marriage, if you're interested in health, then this blog is for you. So sign up. And I hope you all have an awesome day. That's really all I wanted to share at this point, but I plan on being on tomorrow with my husband. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you again for watching.